So you know what happened today is they picked a new pope.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did the flags go back up? Is that too soon? I don't know. They just had the ceremony, and then they're like, "Okay, we're gonna start looking, and then the smoke thing or whatever. I don't know enough about it, but then they pick one. It's kind of like a surprise because I don't think it had ever been an American pope before. Yeah, this one's made in USA.
No.
Chicago. Yeah, but
so was he like living here or was he
was
there?
over there. I mean, you're not like some guy in some church. You're already kind of in that inner circle.
Right, but I mean, how do you get in the inner circle if you're from Chicago?
There's elevations, you know. He was already kind of like.
Oh man, this is starting to sound like.
There was already like into kind of like I said, like he was somebody. I don't think he was even considered as like a possibility. I don't even think he was in the top 5 running. I honestly don't. Like they were I was listening to something on like Monday or Tuesday. They were talking about like, you know, like the top candidates. They were like maybe somebody from Italy or maybe somebody from Latin America, South America, whatever. More like Popey, you know.
So this guy comes out of nowhere. Like, what do you
enter? Out of nowhere.
But wait, how do you do that? Like, what's the process? Do you do interview?
I don't know. They burned a smoke, and that's it. And like they said, we have a decision. It's like a jury.
I know, but like, if he showed up out of nowhere, like
how he was there. He was part of the council, but we don't know. And then once they said they have an announcement, it's the color of the smoke, right? It means they have agreement.
Right.
They've reached a verdict. And like, they pick one. They go, let's go. Who it is? And then
you sure they weren't doing kebabs like the one?
Yeah. Like, oh, the fat came out. And they said it's this guy. He already got a new name. So whatever his name was, then now it's like okay, what are you going to be known as? Like Leo or something.
Yeah.
So
that's a good Chicago name.
Mm-hmm. That wasn't his name though. But at least kind of speaks English, because some of these other ones they were like they spoke different languages,
right?
And then they're supposed to speak Latin. What's the? I don't know.
No, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know enough about
Popehood.
That, and then there was also like last week I was watching this. They were interviewing some people from the. Actually, you know what? It was John Christ. He had gone to the Mormon church. Did you see that one?
Yeah.
It was a pretty good interview. I mean, it was like a good review of the experience, right. You know, and without, I mean, he's a comedian without really making light of it, but it's just interesting, like what people will consider close to their heart and tradition,
right?
You know, as a change agent, like. Just because you've done something for so long doesn't mean that's the way it has to be. But some people, right. I mean, when it comes to those things, it doesn't even matter. Like that's just the way it is. So that's how they do it. You know, doomsday prepping and
right.
all that stuff. Right. Like we joke about it, like, oh, we're not going to ride our bikes to your house, but people do.
Yeah.
Like we say that because we don't, but like people do.
Yeah,
they show up in the short sleeve shirt and
tie
and all that. Like, I've heard it. I'm good. I mean, it must work. Somebody's like, "Oh, that sounds interesting. I'll do it." You know.
Well, it's like anything. It's like Scientology, right? It's like
I guess if you're lost and you have no idea, I guess you'll just.
Believe anything.
I guess that's what I'm saying. So there's this. I mean, this you know, it's part of Christianity. So I mean, it's revered,
right?
But I don't know. Like I'm sure, like a big portion of the United States identifies as Catholic, and
Yeah.
you know, like if he came for a visit, they're going to show up.
Right.
But like you said, like this, like what was the selection process?
Right.
Who died and made you king? You know.
Right. Like, is there elders, or is there like?
I guess he was part of that. They say he was part of that inner circle.
What's the inner circle?
Do they stand in a circle?
They sacrifice. Yeah.
It's starting to look like a triangle. Get back in formation.
We're falling off. We're falling off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I just don't understand.
So, and then, you know, I think back in the day, you know, somebody speaks or whatever. Now you got people that tweet.
Yeah. Well, and then they become not afraid behind the keyboard. That's the problem.
Yeah. I saw this one on LinkedIn. It's just hard to share on LinkedIn, but it was like, it's how people act. You know, it was this fence. It was like one of their little gates, right? Mm. And these two neighboring dogs, they were just barking hard at each other, right? Talking. And he like hit the button, and then the gate opened. And they were still behind a metal fence, but then now the separator was separated. Was separate. You know, the separator was removed, and they're standing there looking at each other, not saying anything. It's like, this is how people behave online versus in person, right, you know? Exactly. Just like, they're just dogs are looking at each other. And then as soon as that he closed that gate, he's like, That's so true. This is so true. Yeah. In fact, like half the comments here, like, this is literally you
what
chicken
you're doing.
Bastards, man. That's like, just say stuff with their thumbs. Right. But you won't say with your mouth.
Right.
It's literally it. Just like you get this. I don't know. I just don't understand like how people, you know, up or down, you know. But you know, like what's his face? You know, Maniscalco said, like, I've never written my feelings on a cardboard box and walked it down the street either. Like
right.
People that protest in person. I guess this is like a digital protest thing, you know. Commenting.
Justice for Lindsay.
Yeah, Justice. Like, I've never done that.
What, you don't have a job?
You got nowhere to be on a Tuesday morning?
Right.
Jeez. Yeah, like I had that jury duty. Like, I'm just like,
I don't even want to do that.
I don't even want to do that. And I have to. It's a civic duty. Right. And then you go, you don't get selected. Thank God, you know. Thank you. 90% of it just showing up.
Or
right?
Even the ones. Well, I didn't read the last one I went to, and I showed up in shorts.
And it was like not dress code?
Yeah, it had a dress code on it. I was like, crap.
Did you get credit or no?
Well, so the
I didn't read that. I mean,
on this
it just said location and time.
This one apparently did because the officer was like, well, I need you, like, there was another guy in shorts. He's like, well, I just need you guys to stand back. And then what we'll do, I mean, I had on a polo shirt, so it wasn't like I was total, like, slum, like,
you show up in pajamas, right?
T-shirt and, but.
It's like, this is how I work.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I told him.
I came from work.
But he just said, stand aside. And he goes, if we absolutely need more people, then we'll sub you in. And they did. But then the guy didn't even show up.
The guy for the case?
Yeah.
What?
Didn't even show up. So I got credit for it because he didn't show up.
Well, I guess, yeah, that's it.
That's it.
You got to be there to defend yourself.
Right. So,
all right.
So then it's funny because I asked the officer, because I was like the last one, I said, hey, man, I apologize. I didn't read the thing.
I didn't know that was dress code.
Right. And I go, I apologize. And he was like, no. He goes, it happens all the time. And I go, can I ask a question? He's like, yeah. I go, so what happens with that guy? He no-showed. He goes, oh, there's a warrant out for his arrest now.
Mm. Right. Now you show up. Yeah.
So
Bench warrant.
yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But this wasn't Denton's. This was the one over in Frisco.
Was it city or no? No.
I don't know. I went over where Babe's Chicken is.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
courthouse there.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't know if
Downtown.
it's a city of Frisco or what it is, but
It's like a.
because I had one in Denton that wasn't that long ago, and then I got this one, and I thought it was
That one's county.
right.
This one was probably like city, different jurisdiction.
Yeah. Now I don't know if there's a different dress code first.
I got the little card and just said time and date. Like there wasn't
Right.
anything about it. Unless it was in like
and then-
two font, I
Then
didn't see it.
the Denton one, actually it says on there, it says check in the night before, and
Yeah.
it said I didn't need to show up.
Right.
But you still get credit for it.
That's right. Yeah. So
But for a
Dress
while,
code.
I was getting them like one after the I thought there had to be a time frame
yeah,
between.
like after a certain period.
But I mean, it was like just I did Denton County not that long ago.
Mm-hmm. And then you showed up.
Marnie never gets them.
Yeah. Probably will go decades. They never get one.
I'm like, how's that happen?
Yeah.
I was kind of excited about the Frisco one because it was like, it's right down the
It's
road.
right here,
I
yeah.
like to get picked.
Yeah.
Work was kind of sucking at the
It's like,
time.
I like Judge Judy. Let's check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I was going to be kind of bummed that I wore some shorts, but like he pulled me in, but then the guy never showed up.
Yeah. Or someone's dad shows up, and then people get it like, oh, we asked them to leave. That's crazy. Think about it. It's like the irony.
That's what I was saying. It's the irony of it. They're all up in arms that his dad showed up, and that you've asked him to leave several times, and he didn't move. And it's
I think you're just getting it. I think you're just about to get it. Yeah. Yeah.
obviously he didn't because he was talking about it on a podcast or something.
Oh, yeah.
About how he just didn't move, and it's like, oh.
If he's doing something wrong, then they would remove him. But
that's not the irony of it. It was the same thing with the son.
The whole incident.
Right. It's just,
yeah.
it's like that commercial. Should have had a V8.
Yep. It will be interesting to see how they can find people that don't know anything about this. Not locally. I mean, can they move it?
But
to can take it to Tarrant County or something? And then that's.
But
it's
they know it there.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, this was a nationwide.
Yeah,
thing.
it went pretty wide. Yeah.
So my thing is like.
They found a jury for that one cop. Remember that one? That was years ago. That lady cop that went to the wrong apartment, shot the guy.
Yeah.
They found a jury for that. I mean, it was.
But I mean, are these people really telling the truth? That's my next
We don't
question.
know. We're supposed to find out. You can't know it from the headline. There's got to be a process to make a case, and then we hear about it.
Yeah, but when they do jury selections, how do they determine? Like, do you know anything about Metcalf or something like?
Probably not. I think they're trying to see if people have like
prejudgment on it.
Mm-hmm. Or on things.
My ex-stepdad, like he got in the jury duty, and he told me a long time ago, he goes, you know how you get out of it? Just when they start to pick you, go, he did it.
Yeah.
And he goes, they'll ask you to leave.
Yeah. He looks guilty. Like, out. Yeah.
He goes, that's how you get unselected for jury duty. He did
Do
it.
the electric chair still? Yeah. Fry him. That's what needs to happen. Bye.
He got pulled
What
up.
happened? I'm wearing pants and everything. I wore pants.
Electric chair for getting pulled over for.
Yeah. Like, no electric chair. You sure? Can we still suggest it just a little bit?
Maybe just a shock.
Can we make our own battery? I've seen a TikTok.
I got sandals.
Connect them to that. I don't know. Yeah, but now, like, there was like the OJ trial. Everybody was glued to the TV for years watching that. Then there was that other one, the Johnny Depp one. Everybody was watching that one too. And at one point, some of these things become way bigger than the case itself.
Right. All these different mayors or whatever going down to Venezuela for that guy. It's like,
yeah, it's more about you at this point.
Yeah, has nothing to do with this.
They're doing their camera shot.
This poor kid thinking that he's going to get off somehow. He's not. He's not coming back.
If you end up in some of these third world country prisons, you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can go visit him all they want. He ain't getting out.
No. They don't have a bond program. Yeah, that's not good. Plus, they pack them like 30 to a room or something. Yeah. It's craziness.
Well,
they're not refurbishing batteries either. They got the sandals, but they're not working.
Yeah, I don't know. This is the stuff people get hung up on.
Well, I heard this one yesterday. I was on the radio. So in the morning, I listen to AM radio, just kind of get going, right? Plus, I can't have my phone with me, so I'm just listening to, like, what's up, news, weather, whatever. They were talking about...
Is that a still thing?
Oh, it's on. It's just like I press the button, boom, they're talking. Like, I'm like, dude, he was talking. No one's listening, but I'll listen.
Nobody's listening. This is just like you and your Yahoo News.
Yep.
You're the only listener.
Yeah, they're just talking. They're just going. But anyway, they were talking about this 19-year-old girl got pulled over for, I don't know, running a stop sign or whatever. Right. That's not the issue. But they're like, she had been in this country since she was 4 years old, illegally. She's 19 now, and because she ran the stop sign, they deported her. I'm like, time out, okay? She's not being deported for running a stop sign. Let's start the name of the matter. Right. Also, it doesn't matter how old you were, right? If you got no papers and you're not here legally, the crime you've committed is like overstaying for 15 years.
Right.
Or not coming in legit to begin with.
Right. Go get
That's really what it is.
Go get a
That's
visa.
really what it is.
Right.
It's because it's not like, what's going to happen like if you run a red light? That you shouldn't have anything to worry about.
Right. It's not about the red light.
It's like it's the lack of papers. Could she have avoided the situation by staying inside the lines? Possibly, but at some point, it's going to catch up with you.
Right.
You don't have, like, I mean, when you're applying to things, what do you say you are a citizen or do you have a social security number? Like, what are you putting on these forms? How do you like linger so long?
I don't know.
I mean, I went to go get a permit for my son. There were so many documents you have to bring.
Yeah, and then like they were interviewing this one lady from some other country, and she was here, and it was like she created her own business, and they're like, oh, they're going to deport her, and I'm like, I go, well, what's your status?
Right.
If you got papers, they ain't going to touch you.
Yeah, but I mean, like when we started that business, so many papers, so many documents.
Right.
Everything. Right? So like how do you like I mean if you don't have papers, why would you go expose yourself? Like just stay off the radar.
It was funny. I was talking to a friend of mine that owns does restoration, construction stuff, and I talked to him back in the past because we've been wanting to do like our kitchen and bathroom and stuff, and he's like, it's kind of hard to find people. But then I had lunch with him not that long ago, and he goes, I was just like, yeah, I got to have you over just to kind of give us the lay of the land of like what we could expect if we wanted to do certain things. He's like, yeah, I can do that. And he's like, oh, he goes, by the way, all my guys are back. And I was like, what does that mean? He goes, these guys would go work in different states, but due to the whole thing that's going on, he goes, they've come back home and just like staying and
Stand on the radar.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, don't run that risk.
Right.
But yeah, just.
But then I'm like, okay, so I get this person for a few months. He makes a mistake, and then he's gone. Like, then you got somebody else that's gonna pick up his work. Like,
I don't know.
To me, it's I love talking to you, just because you immigrated from a different country, and just hearing their border, they're like people are standing there with guns. So you try to jump over, they're shooting you.
Yeah, there's no
like,
and that's not just like third world countries
right.
It's like that. I mean, even in Europe and things like
that.
The borders, how they're defining themselves. That's their identity. That's the mountain line. The line.
That's the Ukraine Russia fight.
All that fight is just over that line.
Right.
What do you think it's about? Mineral rights? I mean, what the heck is this?
And you're just like, hey, come on over.
Yeah, it's the land. It's limited. So they're just trying to figure out, like, oh, who can I take over and expand?
Right.
When we do it, we do it on the sly, or we're like, oh, you can't cross a sovereign country or whatever. When we go under the radar or whatever. But we know when we go from international area to crossing, sometimes there's even things where, let's say, some of the adversaries, like, they fly over a certain country to hit a target.
Yeah.
The certain country that allowed their airspace to be used for an attack is complicit.
Right.
So you complicit because you're aware that your boundary was crossed.
Right.
And you did nothing. So expecting nothing is not the standard.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
That's not even our standard.
Right. These people are just like lost their minds. Did you hear the president and the new
Canadian one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they were asking questions like the media, and one of the questions was like, President Trump, he talked about Canada being the 51st state, and he goes, do you still stand by that? And he goes, well, he goes, anything's for sale. And then the Canadian guy's like, oh, we're not for sale. And he goes, no, he goes, everything's for sale. Then underneath his breath, Trump goes, that line with the U.S. looks a little straight.
Mm-hmm. It's like, but he said, like, some things are just, well, I mean, he's not talking about buying it.
Right.
That's also the thing. Yeah. Like, Russia's not offering to buy Ukraine. Right. So, it's also like some things. Yeah, you're right. It's not for sale. He's also not making an offer either. You're just saying, like, let's just get rid of that line. Draw a bigger line.
Yeah.
That's what he was saying. He's
right.
like, when you see the whole thing, it looks beautiful. It's like the big shape. Yeah.
Oh. And I got to give you credit. You had a spot on mimic Biden from his interview.
Yeah, you'd forgotten about it.
And then I saw Biden talk, and I was like, oh, that was true.
Yeah. It was.
It was me.
It was me. I'm back. Where did it go?
long pauses.
Yeah.
And then it was funny. I was watching Gutfeld, and Tyrus was like, "Yeah, we just need him to do this like every so many months." So he goes, "We realize what we
right
like we don't want."
right. I mean, he was voted out by everybody, including his own party.
Yeah,
that was just like out. So, but they just. I mean, we're way past that, but it was just like when we say out means like all new administration. So it'd be no different than if somebody's like, okay, not Trump, but also not Vance either. Like it's like that whole crew out would be. It's one administration, so you can't just shave like one layer and be like it's all different. No, it's the same. This is a whole block. And you knew, but there isn't anything new. I already talked about 2020. I'm like, there's nothing. There wasn't anything 6 months ago.
no,
What's grown since then? Nothing. Same crap. I don't want to talk about it. I mean, honestly, if there's a legitimate way to establish a 3 or a multi-party system, I'm up for that conversation.
Right. But I think you end up just getting more of the same.
Like if you had like an opportunity for like a true independent or like a true like green or a true Labor Party or whatever, whatever. I mean, like if they even want to have like a party for socialists or whatever, just flavor it out, right? Like it's just sour. This one's bitter. That's sweet. This one's salty. And then it's like, what do you want? What do you want? And then people pick and choose. We don't have that. We just got left, right. There's no center. There's no north. There's no nothing. It's just left, right, and the left is getting further away from the right, and the right's getting further away from the left.
But then you add a third to the mix. It's just going to be the same thing.
I don't want 3. I want like 5. I'm just saying, make room for more than 2. Make room for more than 2 and make things interesting. Make things more interesting. I'm not saying it'll be better. It just be more interesting. It's not just like
yeah, but then you get like a draw. Then what?
Revote just between those two.
So then you're back to left. Then you're back to left. Right.
Yeah, but it's not left right because it might be like 2 different things. It's like instead of like red and blue, there might be like a green and a purple, and then the runoff between green and purple, you never know. You never know.
Yeah, it always comes back to whatever it is. It's still going to be a separation.
And people got to be held accountable. Stop lying. Stop saying one thing, doing another. Stop with the special services, whatever. There's
I agree with
people that just funnel money through them and all that stuff. Stop spending hundreds of millions of dollars in campaign finance, like just
right.
Running your own dime. How about that?
Yeah.
And then, if people donate money to you, they're already, that's support. That's
right.
Public support.
Yeah.
But if they're raising billions of dollars from corporations, that should be a question right there. What's in it for the people that are voting, that are like supporting this candidate?
Right.
Now, if you don't care and you care about that, then that's fine. Someone's flipping the bill for it, But if not, like, don't be all surprised. Like, oh, this guy just works for the pharmaceuticals. Who do you think paid for his campaign, Yeah, they got to get a return on their investment.
Right.
It's not breaking news. They weren't hiding it. It just is.
Right.
So, but he comes up there and he's like, we need better drugs. And if you're like, yeah, that sounds great. So, again, I know the companies to do it. These guys. Right. But just understand, like, that's the special interest that they represent. Yeah. They're going to say that.
Yeah.
So what about food? We'll make better food with drugs,
We'll add the drugs to it. It'll be better food.
Save the animals. Yes, we can with drugs. Mental health? Drugs. Mm-hmm. Environment? Drugs. Now you don't care. So it's like, oh, I lost my job. Work for the drug company, They're hiring. Eventually, it'll work itself out. But I think a two-party system is just not enough choices. So I personally think we're a good capitalist society, which runs on choices. It's just our elections are just stuck in like a dichotomy. There's not like, there's some people that choose left just because it's not right. And I'm like, but you're not really choosing this one.
In a way they are, because you have multiple people from the get-go.
And yeah. I mean, how many people were like, well, I'm not really picking this. I'm just saying not Biden. Or I'm just saying not Trump.
Yeah, but that's the
But
thing.
that's it.
But you
doesn't
had
matter how you arrive at this button.
But you had the choice because there was other choices on
Prior.
the left. Yeah. And this is what you're left with.
Right.
So I feel like you do have several choices. It's just, God, how many was there in the Republican? There was like 12 or something at one point.
At one point, but not this last time.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There you had 12 different choices and you choose none of them.
Right. Right. So you're saying within the two, there's different varieties of degrees of left and right.
Right.
I don't know. I do want more choices. Not I'm talking about the parties. Or we start all over.
But what's the difference between the parties and the representation of 12 different individuals?
They're not that different.
Exactly.
They're not that different. Everything on the citrus tree is sour.
But that's what I'm saying. So you had 12
so you'd
people.
Be like, well, this one's more green, this one's more orange.
But
it's all on the same tree.
It doesn't matter, because no matter what, whether you have 12 different people.
I want room for an olive.
But even in the olive tree, there's still going to be.
That's fine. But olive is so different than a citrus different than an apple.
It's not, because they're all seeing the same thing. Dollar signs in their eyes.
Yeah, but it's different. It's just different. I just want different. I don't want to pick from different citrus or different apples.
But it's not different. That's what I'm saying. No, it is not.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, they're all fruit, but I'm just saying, like, the makeup of it is different. Unless you're saying the corruption is the same.
As far as our elections go, it's all corruption.
Yeah.
It's no different than you being back in Iran.
Yeah.
Well, except we don't sit here and go, no, he won.
Right.
I don't put a gun to your face and tell you that, hey, no, he won. I'm just saying, like, it doesn't matter. These people, the olive tree people, are still going to get paid off by pharmaceutical companies, same as these people, and same as
the food and oil. Yeah,
everybody
that's what's behind it.
That's what's driving this all.
It's not the candidates; it's what's driving all of it.
All right,
like the 10 companies that run everything,
and
they'll hedge their bets. There's times you see like they'll funnel both candidates.
Right.
Like whichever one wins, they got it. Congrats. It's not like we lost or we picked the wrong horse. Yeah, we bet on all the horses. Yeah.
Right. I mean, Trump isn't a saint either. I mean, he's benefiting his companies, his son's companies.
Mm-hmm. But I'm just saying, it doesn't even have to be direct, but somebody's benefiting, right?
And he's making sure with all these deals that stuff's being in their benefit.
Right. And you could sit back and suffer and grunt, or jump on the bandwagon. Get on the benefit train.
Exactly.
Because usually, like even on the stock market, right, as it's going down, you could cry about losing or buy.
Buy more.
And then you bought it on the down.
Right.
And then as it goes back up, don't be on the, oh, I'm going to buy when it's up again. Gain as it's going up.
Right.
So being a leader means you set the trend and then people will follow it.
Right.
So if you're always following, you're going to be behind the times.
All right.
You're going to suffer.
Unless you're got insights from somebody.
Yeah. Unless you got eyes to hear and ears to see, and then
from Pelosi,
then you're good to go. Then
yeah.
You're here. Then
get that insider trading going.
Yeah. All right. Looks like I have to go do a pickup before it gets dark. Yeah.
All right. Well, peace out, everybody.
Peace out.